Karl, is there a reason we're going to talk about domain names today?
Yes, there is. So tune in to the end of the video to hear that story. But first, let's talk about McDonald's. McDonald's is a monolithic company responsible for more cases of childhood obesity than Game Boys and Doritos combined, so they of course have an internet presence. However, in the 1990s, the company was so unaware of what the internet even was, they didn't even bother to register the domain name McDonald's.com.
I just can't comprehend why McDonald's would not have just immediately bought McDonald's.com.
Yeah, a writer for Wired called Josh Quittner thought that too, when he was researching a piece about how Fortune 500 companies were adapting to the internet. And when he realised McDonald's.com was available to be bought by anybody, he decided to be a nice guy and contact McDonald's about it. Quittner, rather than snapping up the domain name himself like an asshole, decided to be a good guy and contacted McDonald's PR department and politely informed them that the domain McDonald's.com was available to buy.
But yeah, to be honest, it's a good job he did call them, because if he hadn't called them and they hadn't got it then, anyone else could have had it.
Well, anyone else could have bought it, couldn't they? And Brad, you may have noticed that we've just started recording this video, so you know the bullshit hasn't started yet, because when Quittner called up McDonald's PR department and politely informed them the domain McDonald's.com is available, that PR representative said to him, and I quote, "What's the internet?" For our younger viewers who are currently scratching their head about how a company as large as McDonald's didn't know what the internet was, this happened in 1994.
So that's, what was that, 24 years ago?
Yeah, about 24, 25 years ago, depending on the exact date. So for our younger viewers at home, just to put in perspective how quickly the internet has gained prominence and become like a ubiquitous aspect of everyday life, just 24 years ago, a company as large as McDonald's didn't have the foresight to know the internet would be a big deal.
That's in our lifetime. That's how short amount of time
that's
it
like, when I was born, people didn't know what the internet was. I still remember getting the internet.
Oh, I do as well.
I remember getting a disc. Like, for the younger people, they're probably like, what the fuck? We got a disc with the internet on it. And you couldn't use the internet if your dad wanted to talk on the fucking phone. And I remember waiting like 3 hours for a fucking stick fights video on zhaozhao.com to load up and being amazed at that shit. Now I can bring it up on my phone in like 4 seconds. For younger people watching now, like, what the fuck is this old man? This old ass man, this ancient man. It's this Fu Manchu beard growing on me now talking about this stuff. Just play the dial-up noise.
Oh, the dial-up noise.
This is the noise I had to hear every time I wanted to go on Neopets.
So early days of the internet, I suppose it's understandable that they may not have known what it was.
Yes, it is. What's less understandable, though, is that after Quittner tried to explain to this PR representative what the internet was and told them that it's probably going to be a big fucking deal in like a couple of years' time, and a lot of big companies are snapping up domain names now because anyone can buy them, because this was the Wild West days of the internet where like domain squatting and stuff, there weren't laws against that sort of thing. And he patiently explains to them, like, right now, McDonald's.com could be bought by anybody, even me.
Well, I can see where this is going. They didn't buy it, did they?
They did not, even after Quittner explained in the simplest terms he could that at that moment in time, anybody, including himself or even Burger King, could buy McDonald's.com and just fill the website with lies about their business. McDonald's were like, we're not interested. We don't think it's a thing we're going to pursue as a company. So do you know what Quittner did?
What?
He contacted Burger King. Like Quittner had done with McDonald's, he called up a PR representative for Burger King and informed them that the domain name for their biggest rival was available to buy on the internet.
So Burger King snapped it up?
No, they didn't, because the PR representative for Burger King told them they didn't know what the internet was either. But here's the best part. After Quittner explained to this Burger King representative, you know, the internet's going to be a big deal and it has a lot of potential, and other massive companies such as yourselves are buying up domain names, which remember were quite cheap and still are quite cheap, you know, just in case, to stop other people doing that and, like, you know, blackmailing them down the line. The Burger King representative told him, in which case, we don't see why we'd want to buy McDonald's.com, because that's got nothing to do with us. And just for a moment, Brad, just imagine if this scenario occurred like now. And imagine if McDonald's.com, the domain name, through some bizarre confluence of events, was available to buy. Do you think Burger King would buy it now?
Oh, yeah.
They would snap that shit. I'm not even Burger King. I want Wendy's to buy it and get the person who runs their fucking Twitter account to make McDonald's.com. It's so ridiculous, like, you know, like, just transpose this scenario to today, and you think, how could a company be so short-sighted to not buy their own domain name? How? Like, and you think, like, you could put anything on there, and McDonald's would have to deal with it.
Does that mean that Burger King also wouldn't have had BurgerKing.com?
Oh yeah, I should point out Burger King also said they weren't interested in buying BurgerKing.com.
Really?
They didn't buy that. That was also available when Quittner was writing the article. Just imagine if that shit happened today and the amount of like corporate shit slinging and dick waving that would occur if like McDonald's accidentally like lost the rights to their own domain name and a rival company bought it. Oh man, I would pay to see that universe. I bet it would be hilarious. The thing is, I don't think even if Wendy's or Burger King or something got hold of McDonald's.com, they would run it any worse than McDonald's have done themselves. Because Brad, you're going to put this in, we've talked about it before and we're going to talk about it again. Put in the guy who wants to fuck the burger. If you're currently wondering what the fuck I'm talking about, because these images don't exactly tell the whole story, a few years ago, McDonald's launched an ad campaign where they tried to kind of appeal to the kids to some of that hip lingo they're all using, and someone somewhere in the marketing department had heard the term, "I'd hit that," and didn't know what it meant. So what they did is they put that phrase underneath a guy giving a burger the fuck eyes and ran it on a load of websites, and then immediately removed it when they found out what it meant. But this being the internet, we of course have screenshots, and it'll live on forever in infamy.
Karl, I wish somebody would look at me the way that guy looks at that burger.
So do I, man. That guy is giving that burger some loving ass fuck eyes, isn't he? But it's so crazy. And there's the other one McDonald's did, which I don't think we've talked about, which is where, to counteract claims that they weren't paying workers enough, released like this internal memo advising members of staff how to make their wages stretch further. And one of the pieces of advice they genuinely gave was, just don't pay for heat. So one of their pieces of advice to workers about how to make their McDonald's wage, like, stretch a little bit further, don't pay for heat, and another one was get a second job. And that was on official company letterhead. How embarrassing is that? You couldn't make that shit up. That's the kind of thing, like, The Onion would write to try and make people laugh at McDonald's, and McDonald's released it on their own. You can't make shit like that up because it sounds so unbelievable, doesn't it? Actual advice from McDonald's to its staff about how to live on the wage they pay is get a second fucking job. Oh,
we've all worked for those companies where the internal memos come round and you just read them and go, what is this?
Oh, man.
Sign it.
Yeah.
No.
I remember having a great one where it's like, we take, the presentability of our staff very seriously, and these are the uniform codes that you have to strictly adhere to. And I remember seeing the word uniform was misspelled. And I went, wow, you really care about how our company's presented to the outside world, don't you? And just took a picture of it and put it online. And my manager gave me a snotty phone call the next day and Karl, take that down. I didn't. It's still on my Facebook somewhere. Moving back to Quittner and the saga of McDonald's.com, upon realising that neither company gave all that much of a shit about owning their own domain name, Quittner went right ahead and bought McDonald's.com.
Yeah, of course he did.
Well, why not? McDonald's obviously didn't want it.
What did he write on it?
Well, what he did is he just made a simple splash page informing McDonald's that if they changed their mind and wanted to buy McDonald's.com from him, they could contact him at, and I'm not making this up, Ronald@McDonald's.com. Oh, that's just sticking the boot in that, innit? I'm fairly certain, Brad, the word power move was coined to describe this exact scenario. A guy buying the domain name of a huge multi-billion-pound company and making them email him to an email address named after their own mascot to sheepishly ask him for their own name back. Oh.
But we all know that McDonald's do now own McDonald's.com.
Yes, they do. And you're probably wondering, so how did, McDonald's.com change hands from Quittner to McDonald's? And what Quittner did is he wrote an article for Wired about, this entire saga and the fact that McDonald's had no idea what the internet was, and politely informed anyone from McDonald's reading that they could contact him at that email address I quoted earlier if they wanted to buy it back and change their mind. And a couple of weeks after the article was published, someone in McDonald's with the authority to, buy the domain off him caught wind of the story and had to email Ronald@McDonald's.com asking Quittner to buy the domain back.
Surely he just had to hand it straight back because there's laws in place to stop people doing that.
There are today, there weren't back then. And Quittner had actually got in contact with legal experts who'd informed him that, by all rights, the domain was his to do with as he pleased. And if he didn't want to sell it to McDonald's, he was under no obligation to do so. Or, to put it another way, Quittner had McDonald's by the balls.
So I'm guessing after all this, he managed to get himself this huge payout.
You'd think so, wouldn't you, given that one, McDonald's is a huge multi-billion-pound company, and two, he'd made a good faith effort to inform the company that the domain was available, and after they told him they didn't want it, bought it himself. But no, Quittner, to his credit, didn't try and blackmail McDonald's into giving him, a red and yellow Ferrari or Big Macs for life or anything like that. He simply asked them to make a $3,500 donation to a local public school so they could buy some computers, so they could learn what the internet was.
I'm surprised the response wasn't, what's a computer?
Well, they had to know they had to have at least one computer to email ronald@mcdonalds.com.
They got the expert in.
The expert who brings out a dusty old Osborne one or some shit. I'm not sure of how exactly the conversation went down, but it's largely agreed Quittner probably could have squeezed McDonald's for a few more dollars, but he just didn't want to. So one, he didn't want to fight it in court, and two, he just found it funny that McDonald's themselves had to admit they didn't know what the internet was and had to email an email address named after their own mascot to buy back their own name. So McDonald's basically just donated that $3,500. He handed the domain name over and he wrote his article.
So I'm guessing anybody that follows you on Twitter knows exactly why we're talking about domain names.
They probably do, yes, but for people who don't follow me on Twitter or watch these videos casually, the reason we're talking about domain names today and big companies not buying them is because I actually now run a company.
But Karl, what do you mean you run a company?
Well, for boring tax reasons, I was advised by an accountant friend of mine to start a company. And I was told that because this company will exist on paper, you can name it whatever you want, it doesn't really matter. So me, being me, chose the name Big Wangers Incorporated.
Of course you did.
And people at home are probably thinking, Karl, you're making this shit up. So I'm going to now get Brad to put a screenshot behind me, which is an official letter from the government telling me that I am now the managing director of a company called Big Wangers Incorporated, which you can look up on official government websites and see is a real company that exists in the United Kingdom with a sole employee / director / shareholder who is called Karl Smallwood. Now, I thought this was fucking hilarious, so I announced it on Twitter because, that's the kind of shit I do. And some dipshit saw that and thought, hang on, has Karl registered the domain name bigwangers.com? And the answer to that question is no. I do not need bigwangers.com, but this person didn't know that. So a couple of days after I put this on Twitter, I got a polite email from a nice fan informing me that if you go to the domain bigwangers.com or bigwangers.co.uk, or indeed any variation of bigwangers.something, it led you to a splash page from some idiots who bought it thinking they could extort money out of me into buying it back.
They didn't just buy bigwangers.com,
no, they bought
though.
Every single variation of Big Wangers that exists and put a helpful message on that page saying, hi Karl, if you're currently searching for this domain, we bought it. If you'd like it back, you can buy it off us for £50. And I fucking lost it. Brad was in the house when I learned this and he heard me.
I heard you screaming up the stairs.
I was like, Brad, you're never going to believe what happened. Brad, come look. I am so happy about this because this dumb joke that I made actually caused someone to go out and spend their own hard-earned money on the domain Big Wangers. Just imagine for a second, there's someone at a computer going, this is going to make me rich. And they're typing in every variation of Big Wangers they can think of into GoDaddy or some shit going, yeah, this is going to make me my fortune. So I emailed the email address linked on the website saying, contact us, Karl, if you want to buy it, saying, I don't actually need the domain name, so congratulations on spending your own money on Big Wangers. Eat shit, respectfully, Karl Smallwood, CEO of Big Wangers Incorporated.
My favourite part is when you open the email address up to the fans. Did you see some of the things people were sending in?
Yeah. If people were emailing the email address, sending the entire script of the B movie and shit like that.
There was the entire script of The Room.
Someone emailed them as well saying, if Karl doesn't want it, I'll buy it because I've recently moved from West Philadelphia.
Where I was born and raised.
Respectfully, Will Smith. And the actual people who bought the website did get in contact with me and told me they're fans of the channel and they bought it for a joke. Because all jokes end with you trying to blackmail the person you're a fan of, but I digress. And they said, yeah, we made a bet about whether you contact us or not. So I respect the hustle, but I don't need the website. So congratulations on owning bigwangers.com. The best bit is now, though, I can now sign all my emails Big Wangers Incorporated.
I'm now going to be being officially paid by Big Wangers. That has to go on my tax return.
All of Brad's money now gets paid from Big Wangers Incorporated. So now Brad is an official freelancer for Big Wangers.
If I'm writing down my expenses as camera equipment and the money's being sent from Big Wang, I'm a fucking porn director.
You may as well be. Congratulations to those guys. You now own bigwangers.com. Fuck you.
And bigwangersinc.com and bigwangers.net.
Oh, man. Bigwangers.edu.